I want to end with this. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. I'm going to keep repeating things. I repeat things I think are important because if you miss it once, boom. How do we learn? How do we talk about things? How do we grow? Well, a lot of times we got to repeat things. So I'm going to repeat this. We are currently in the midst of a situation where we are in a dark Fukin tunnel. There are a lot of unknowns. In any case, when any situation where there are a lot of unknowns, there are going to be messiahs, people that claim to know the correct answer, or claim to know something 100%, or claim to know we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and they don't just phrase it as a hypothesis, they phrase it as a solution, and flat out. And yes, there are many solutions. Testing, for example, that is one thing I think we can all agree on, that the jury's out on that. But there's a lot of things, especially when it comes to two things right now: COVID-19 and also the markets. There are and the government intervention. There are things right now being done that are truly extraordinary, that are going to take a couple years for us to really suss out. So anytime, I urge you during this time, anytime you see someone that's saying, "Oh, the bailouts are for sure bad," or "Oh, we need to do the bailouts. We need to stimulate the economy. The government needs to print more money," and I would be very, very cautious if anyone's saying things like that, because we don't know the effects of this. The stimulus tap was opened in 2008 with the global financial crisis. That was unprecedented government intervention, and maybe it needed to happen. Maybe it didn't. Maybe some of those companies that would have failed should have just failed. Maybe some of the auto companies should have gone bankrupt. Maybe, or maybe that would have absolutely destroyed the economy. And who the fook knows what would happen. The problem with economic stuff is that we don't have the counterfactual. We can't just run an experiment in the lab. We can't try one thing and then in the same exact situation try a different set of inputs. We don't have that. We don't have that luxury. So all we can do is focus on the questions. I think during this time we have to focus on asking the right questions. And yes, we won't get conclusive answers, and we need to be okay with not getting conclusive answers. But we need to, at the very least, not focus on, put the emphasis on the answer. We need to focus on the emphasis on the question, because a lot of these answers, a lot of these questions are unknowable at this time. So we need to stay open. We need to allow other inputs to come in, and not just get Fukin cornered into opinion, cornered into idea that we think is absolutely correct. And some of these things, even in 2 years, we just won't know. Maybe in 2 years, we're just going to have the same debate that we had during the global financial crisis, where 3 years, 4 years later, we say, yeah, we think it was probably the right thing to do, but we don't know. Maybe we won't have conclusive answers. I would just cautious, be wary of anyone giving conclusive answers to things that are unknowable. There are some things unknowable, and we should give conclusive answers to those things. But there are things that are unknowable, and we need to be very careful with those things. And we need to focus on asking the right questions, and not giving and not focus on coming to an answer as soon as possible, because some of those things, they take time, or some of those things are unknowable, and we just have to operate a little bit in the dark. That's life, and that's unfortunately, it's not always 2 + 2 = 4. Okay, so thank you, everyone. This has been Dick Lucas, Shooting from the Hip number 8. We do this live every Saturday at noon.